Okay, so I'm back again. I'm going to try to present some of this stuff because I have used the wrong one today. I've highlighted some things, got some squares going on and stuff. However, the title of this article is Civilizing with a Stick. More specifically, it's relating a Native American story, and it's talking about a woman. I'm not sure if it's Mary Crodog or Richard Erdogan, but it's relating Native American culture to education and how they were forced into education and labor. And since our theme is education, this 2013 summer at Bayes, we are discovering and going into depth about education and its funds, how it works, and its improvements and its positives as well. So we're going to start off, and my first topic is stress on fitting in. So there was a really large stress on fitting in and being like the white man. But that also brings me to ask, can there be a loss? Can that lead to a loss of individuality? And if there is a loss of individuality, can that be a problem? And so that is also a question that I'm going to pose to the class so they can answer, because I don't quite know myself. I mean, it can go positive and be negative, but I feel like cultures and other ideas can always assist you in your society, because you might not know the answer to something that someone else might know. So, sharing information with different people from different walks of life is going to be really important to you. So, we're going to read a portion, and it says, few students are aware of other nations' policies toward Native Americans, so which include the separation of Indian children from their families and cultures so that these children could be civilized. So, we want to talk about civilized, and civilized technically is the right way, quote unquote, is the right way to do something. And do you really consider, well, especially in today's society where that is not civilized in America, do you consider that civilized? How are you going to tell them that they need to be civilized, but you're teaching them by uncivilized means? So I found that is really contradictory and very important to kind of go in depth to and explain, because it's going to be very key to some of the issues in our education today. There's, as I will read and discuss later, there's a lack of communication, and communication is severely important, especially where education is concerned, because if communicating between the people in power and the people that are not in power is key, because if you're feeling like you're controlled and it's not something you necessarily want to do, and you feel like you're not being heard, you're not going to want to do that activity. So you can see there are many instances where they don't want to follow what these people are doing because it's forced upon them, and it's forced upon them in a very uncivilized manner, even though they're trying to make them civilized people. So she more specifically called it kidnapping, because they would take these kids at a young age and they would train them to do what they wanted them to do, and especially for a very selfish reason, such as making more money for the government, making more money for their farms, or etc. Whatever it is, it's always about money and capital. And once again, capital can be many different aspects. There could be educational capital, there could be actual money capital, there could be numerous types of capital. Capital is something that you hold, something that you have, something that's yours, and that has some some value. So it could be emotional capital. But however, let's go on. So a question that I'm going to pose later as well is why? Why would they? Why do you think that even though they're trying to teach these people to be civilized, what is the purpose of them doing it in an uncivilized manner? Or we have to discover the right and wrong theory. Now, how do you really know what's right and what's wrong? Because to some people it might be right, to others it might be wrong. You cannot tell somebody that it's right, because that would be your bias, your opinion. So we have to kind of delve into that. Why would they do it from the right perspective, and why would they do it from the negative perspective? And that's going to be something important to discuss as well. And once again, communication is key in any relationship. These people are rebelling, these people are committing suicide, and they might be curious to why they're doing these things, and it's because there's a lack of communication. They think because they're a minority that they can tell them what to do, that they are the white men. And in this society, they even say that from the Native American perspective, because we haven't exactly heard from the American perspective, but from the Native American perspective, we can see that they see Americans as devils. They see them as people who, according to society, are very important, who are higher than others, who are looked upon, who you want to be, but, you know, secretly inside themselves, they know that that's not the way it should be, of course, according to their reasons of right, and other people's reasons of right. But, so yeah, there's something. So once again, we experience why they act the way they do because it's a culture shock. These Native Americans go about things in a very different manner than other people. They see things differently, they experience things differently, they have kind of a different religion and different way of life. And the fact that there's that once again that lack of communication, it's a culture shock. It's something that they feel like they need to demonize because they don't feel comfortable. They feel like they just these white people that came in and just took their land and sent them to these really bad boarding schools. Just want them to be like them, but it's kind of hard because when you come from a culture, you have your own cultural preferences, and so that's something about what this article discusses is the fact that there is a different culture, and since it's so vastly different in their beliefs, it was it was shocking. It was hard to adjust to these new American ways. So also, we're going to see what I can look because I'm just in the first couple of pages. Okay, and we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more pages to do. Wonderful. And that's just the first page, and that's just a beginning to my discussion in class. And of course, as I study more, I will be able to give more accurate information and explain myself. But now I'm going to go eat. Fuck. I mean, yeah.